Futurama just did a critique of fast fashion. Let's talk all about it.
Which of you indistinguishable human heads wants a body?
What is up, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to my channel for reviews of every new Futurama episode and more pop culture content. Subscribe to the channel. We've just hit episode 6 of the new season of Futurama, and I have done a review of every episode so far. And to be honest, aside from the kind of misstep of the opening of the season, I think everything's been pretty good. Like, the quality is really consistent, and we had another good episode this week. This week's episode, Attack of the Clothes, is a really great sci-fi title reference as well, obviously calling back to Attack of the Clones, episode 2 of Star Wars, which is, I guess, one of the worst ones, depending on who you ask.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But in what appears to be like a trend with Futurama, there's always a critiquing of environmental issues, and there is a lot of like green pushing in Futurama, which has always been there. I mean, looking back to the earlier seasons, we had that episode about the big garbage ball floating to Earth that is just a result of humans just dumping their garbage, right?
New York City, the year 2000, the most wasteful society in the history of the galaxy.
And I've always loved how Futurama is able to show the results of something that we are doing today and how they could affect us in the future. This episode is no different, and there are a few really cool little Easter eggs and things that happen that I want to point out. The first one being Farnsworth having a toe longer now, a reference to earlier episodes in which he has the thing longer.
Let me just activate it using my footnological marvel, the toe longer.
Am I the only person that actually thinks the thing longer would be a really good practical invention? Like, imagine if I could turn on the light switch from halfway across the room with that thing. I would buy one. And in a Professor Farnsworth-centric episode, the first for the season as well, it starts off with a Frankenstein parody as Farnsworth brings different human body parts together to create an environmentally friendly person. 100% recycled body parts. You can't fault his logic there.
Voila!
Professor? Most people have a head.
But he's unable to recycle a head, which leads the gang going to the Head Museum, which is always really fun. Of course, the heads in Futurama are always a great way for the writers to use current day celebrities. Probably most notably is Richard Nixon, who is a prominent character in the whole Futurama series.
Computers may be twice as fast as they were in 1973, but your average voter is as drunk and stupid as ever.
And speaking of US presidents, we get our first ever, I believe, look at Barack Obama's head in this episode.
Any of you presidents need a body?
Can it hit a no-look jump shot?
Sure.
Then why does it need me?
With what has got to be one of the worst Obama impressions I've ever heard. The other interesting thing about this is that, of course, not even Fry would really know who Obama is because Obama became president in 2008, which was like 9 years after Fry went to the future. And the same goes for the other head that ends up becoming a guest cast member in the episode, Cara Delevigne.
It's not the body, it's how you wear it.
Fry recognizes Cara Delevigne, but I don't think he would know Cara Delevigne because in the timeline of events, Fry goes to the future at the end of 1999, and Cara Delevigne was not famous in 1999. So I guess then as the viewer, we have to assume that maybe Cara Delevigne has popped up in Fry's life in the 31st century, and that's how he knows her, which seems not probable, but I guess, like, you know, we just believe it. We also get cameos from Bill Nye the Science Guy, which is cool, and of course another appearance from Wernstrom, Professor Farnsworth's ex-student, who is now his, like, science enemy.
Yes! In your face, Warnstrom.
Anyway, in a turn of events, Professor Farnsworth essentially becomes a fashionista, getting on the cover of Vague magazine, obvious parody of Vogue, and now being called by Cara Delevigne Hubert. All names sound so much nicer in French, right?
Bonjour, you cheese-eating surrender monkeys!
And he becomes a famous fashion designer. I love the design here of like what he's wearing. It's amazing, and the power just goes to his head, which is a classic Farnsworth kind of thing. I think what I like about Professor Farnsworth's character is like we're supposed to see him as this like intelligent, all-knowing scientist who's like the pinnacle of like, you know, a great career and a great person, but he is as whimsical and wacky as everyone else in the cast.
I can wire anything directly into anything. I'm the professor.
And through the fashion career, that's where we end up with the environmental commentary as well as the commentary on fast fashion and disposable clothing. Because Zoidberg starts commenting on the wealth gap, another kind of social commentary of the show, and how only wealthy people can afford the clothing that Farnsworth is making. To combat that, he designs essentially clothes that are disposable within a few hours of wearing them, and then you can just sort of start over with a new outfit. All the clothes get disposed into these like magic bins that send the clothes somewhere we can't really be sure of. There's also a casual Wizard of Oz reference here, which is quite funny, and then another sci-fi reference at the end of the episode, which I will get to.
Fly, fly, my pretties.
Because while everyone becomes pretty comfortable with like disposing their clothes really quickly and making new ones, Zoidberg wants to get an old pair of pants back and therefore goes into the magic bin with the rest of the Planet Express crew to retrieve them.
It's simply too dangerous to pass through a trillion light-year wormhole for a pair of pants. Why, the temporal distortion alone could render you...
They end up on a planet just completely swamped by old disposed clothes. And luckily Zoidberg finds his pants and goes back, not without Cara Delevingne's character being essentially sacrificed to save the day.
Don't be a fool! What is one life against a completely decent pair of pants?
I gotta say, I thought Cara Delevigne did a pretty good job here. I'm not usually a massive fan of her acting in general, but like, I think when Futurama uses voice cameos sparingly, they can often really work, like looking back at the Lucy Liu episode, which was another classic. Upon returning, we get this classic reveal where it turns out that the planet where all of the clothes are going is a future version of Earth. Sound familiar?
Oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along.
And we literally get a recreation of that classic Planet of the Apes scene towards the end. The episode actually ends quite ominously when they realize the future they sent it to was actually not that far into the future, and they look out of the window and see all the clothes kind of falling down from the sky, which kind of felt like that could become a multi-episode thing. But I do think the next episode is just gonna reset where we left off, like most episodes of this show do. You know what? I've been really enjoying this season of Futurama. I hope you are too, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because I'll be covering every episode right here. Whew, thank you so much for watching another one of my Futurama reviews. There's a whole playlist of them, and I do pop culture content 3 times a week on this channel at the moment, so I'd love for you to subscribe. I'm nearly on 8,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate all of your support for jumping on board the channel. Please hit that subscribe button and share this video with friends, and leave a comment below. What did you think of this episode? Do you enjoy Futurama's sort of social commentary? I actually think it's quite good when they do it, and I think they're a show that can do it in a really unique way. Aside from that, if you want to support my channel, you can leave a super chat. That would be massive and really help me. Or you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/RadioMike, or leave a one-off donation in PayPal. Now, more than ever, supporting creatives is really important, and I have a few ideas of how I'm going to give back sort of in the next year or so, so keep tuned on that. And I do a podcast and a blog and a bunch of other stuff. All of it is down in the description to this video, so I'd love for you to check it all out. But aside from that, my name's Radio Mike. This has been The Inside of My Mind, and I'll catch you in another video.